He lost. Afterwards, a couple of Breitbart editors came out and said, frankly, Moore was a terrible candidate for the reasons enumerated in this complaint, that he had been credibly accused of molesting an underage girl and preying on teenagers as a grown man in Alabama. It's pretty clear that's why he lost the election. If there were abnormal voting patterns, it's because Alabamians were so incensed by this kind of behavior that they actually came out and voted for a Democrat for the first time in a quarter century.
We're waiting to hear from the Secretary of State. We've called him, waiting to just confirm that today at 1 they do plan to certify this. They're not going to open some sort of investigation. We just don't know, but we're waiting to hear from his office. Obviously, we'll bring that to the viewers as soon as we have it. One last thing to bounce off you on this point, David, is that we had Jonathan Martin on, who said that he thinks that Roy Moore is doing this as a fundraising ploy and that he will have a future somehow in politics. Unclear what that would be, but that's his play here.
I can see that simply because Roy Moore has run for office several times. The only office he's ever been able to win is State Supreme Court Chief Justice. He lost other primaries running for governor and the like, and so I can see Roy Moore rolling out of this, being a martyr and primarying a statewide office holder in Alabama next year. In fact, one of the reasons so many top Republicans in Alabama were hesitant and, in a sense, afraid to stand up to him after the news of sexual misconduct broke and after you had senior Republicans asking them to do something about this, senior Republicans in Washington, was because they all feared Roy Moore and his voters in a future Republican primary. And Roy Moore, who was willing to be kicked off the state Supreme Court twice, likes nothing more than to play the role of the persecuted martyr. And so I can see him coming out of here, targeting a new race to run in and using the outcome of this as a way to fuel that.
All right, gentlemen, let's get your thoughts on the president's activities yesterday. The game of golfer-in-chief cat and mouse continues. The White House refuses to tell us whether or not the president was playing golf for the 86th or so time.
We don't need to since we can see it.
We can see it right there through the hole in the hedge, at least until a strange white panel truck pulled up and blocked our shot. The Secret Service claims they had nothing to do with that. Let the conspiracy theorists go with that one. But he did make an appearance, surprise appearance at a firehouse there in West Palm Beach, and made this claim about his legislative record in the first year.
One of the things that people don't understand, we have signed more legislation than anybody who broke the record of Harry Truman.
Okay, well, let's check the record. Here it is. Going back to Truman, he's not anywhere close to breaking any records.
Well, he did break the record for the least.
For the least amount of legislation signed. Gentlemen, David, where do you think this comes from?
Look, this is Trump being Trump. He always has to try and pump up his record more than it is. He did that as a real estate developer. He did that as an entertainer. And look, it worked for him. He did that as a campaigner. He won the presidency. And most presidents assume whatever they did that led to their victory must have worked, and they're going to keep doing it. What I find interesting about this is Trump had a very uneven year. It started out very poorly. It ended very well. And if he would just focus on what he did without trying to invoke some sort of record that doesn't exist in terms of productivity, we'd talk more about actually what he did than what he didn't do. So I always find these sorts of arguments that he has in politics counterproductive, even though in previous industries, I can see the value of embellishment. I mean, if you're in business or you're in entertainment, embellishment is sort of a way of life. In politics, it's helpful on the campaign trail. Once you have a governing record to speak for you or not, it doesn't work as well.
Yeah, Josh, final word. I mean, listen, the other problem is that in politics, when you confront journalists with numbers, we have videotape and we have records and we have a phone where we can call the Truman Library and ask them what the numbers were, and then we can put it in a graphic. And that's why it doesn't work as well when you see how much more legislation every other president did sign.
Well, and that's why Trump should take a mulligan on this claim and redirect his braggadocio in a different direction. The number of bills passed is not actually a very effective measure of how successful a president has been. A lot of these bills are naming post offices and the like. Trump would be much better served to argue that he's accomplished big things in his first year as president, which he has. He delivered a Republican tax reform that Republicans have been longing for 30 years. He really does have a valid fact-based case to make for what he's accomplished. Instead, he seems to want to golf and talk about other things.
Josh, David, thanks so much for your insight this morning. Stay warm out there today. And when we come back, rushing to conclusions, that's what Democrats think Republicans are trying to do with the investigation into Russian meddling in the election. We'll talk with a Democratic member of the House Intelligence Committee about just that next.
At Joseph A. Bank's lowest prices of the year event, save up to 75% store-wide. Fine suits for $179, sport coats $99, dress shirts and sweaters $29. Plus, take an extra 60% off all clearance items. The lowest prices of the year event, only at Joseph A. Bank.
What do Sure Payroll customers have in common? A super easy, affordable way to file and pay payroll taxes. With Sure Payroll, payroll taxes are a breeze. We process employees, contractors, and you can even pay yourself. We file and pay your federal, state, and local taxes. Just call 844-SURE-PAYROLL or visit SurePayroll.com to get a free quote. Award-winning customer service, guaranteed tax filing, plus 60 days free payroll.
Celebrate the holidays with a musical event of the year. This is just the beginning. The Greatest Showman, rated PG.
I tried hard to quit smoking, but when we brought our daughter home, that was it. Now I have Nicoderm CQ.
The Nicoderm CQ patch with unique extended release technology helps prevent your urge to smoke all day.
It's the best thing that ever happened to me. Every great why needs a great how.
Looking for a hotel that fits your budget? TripAdvisor now searches over 200 sites to find you the hotel you want at the lowest price. Grazie, Gino. Find a price that fits. TripAdvisor.
Attention Medicare beneficiaries. Many people with Medicare may be able to get extra benefits and don't even know they're available. You may be able to get dental, vision, hearing, and prescription drug coverage included in your plan. The Medicare Coverage Helpline is accepting calls to see if you're eligible to enroll now. You may be able to get extra benefits including dental, vision, and prescription drug coverage.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jason Buchwald. Making sure you go to the doctor and taking all your medications as prescribed can help protect your health. To make it easier, you may now be able to enroll in a Medicare Advantage plan that includes coverage for dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Help protect your health by choosing the right plan for you and get all the benefits you deserve.
Call to see if you may be able to get extra benefits, including dental, vision, and prescription coverage. Don't delay. Call to see if you're eligible to enroll and may be able to get extra benefits now. Call 800-779-8200. That's 800-779-8200.
Your home network may not be as secure as you think. Even if your Wi-Fi router is password protected, cyber criminals could get into your network through connected devices and steal your personal and financial information. Introducing Norton Core, a secure Wi-Fi router. Core monitors your connected devices and helps quarantine any threats. Norton Core, a secure Wi-Fi router with the speed you want and the security you need. Act now to enjoy free next-day shipping with promo code BUYCORE at buynortoncore.com.
Imagine a shirt that actually makes you feel better. Introducing Tommy Copper's all-new shoulder-centric posture shirt. Their biggest breakthrough yet. Advanced engineering promotes healthy posture and relief for achy shoulders and back. Visit TommyCopper.com to see the entire line of wearable wellness compression. They have you covered from head to toe. Go to TommyCopper.com right now and find out how you can save 25% on your first purchase, plus free shipping. Life hurts. Feel better.
Republican Congressman Francis Rooney explaining his call for a purge at the FBI and the Justice Department. He now says that word was a little strong. However, he believes there is a problem.
As an American citizen, I'm nervous and discontent that people would have those kinds of lack of impartiality.
All right, but a former White House ethics lawyer under George W. Bush slammed the congressman for saying this on CNN.
We don't have purges in the United States of America. I mean, that's Soviet Russia or Nazi Germany. That's not the type of rhetoric we use in the United States of America, and that man does not belong in Congress.
Let's discuss this with Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. He's a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Allison.
So this is a growing chorus. People haven't used the word purge of the FBI before, but they're using the word tainted. What do you think?
Yeah, look, this is all part of an effort to try to delegitimize, to take away credibility from the FBI in advance of whatever Mueller's investigation may come out. And, you know, Congressman Rooney, with all due respect, has no idea what he is talking about. He's not a member of one of the committees that has talked to officials of the FBI. He is simply propagating this idea that comes straight out of the White House that the FBI is somehow compromised. And it's a dangerous, dangerous thing because, you know, the FBI and the DOJ, the Department of Justice in general, has got to be regarded as above politics, and they of course are being dragged into the political mud by people like Congressman Rooney.
But look, his point and the president's point is that there are these text messages that have been revealed that show that a couple of FBI officials were not being impartial, that they did not like Donald Trump, and that there are some people who contributed to Democrats, and there is one guy who may have gone to a Hillary Clinton election party of some kind. So what are we to do about those folks?
But step back, Allison. I mean, you know, the FBI is made up of thousands of Americans, each and every one of whom has a political opinion. And that's true in Congress. It's true in the United States Marine Corps. Americans have political opinions. It's the beauty of our system. The question is, do those opinions interfere in the work that these people do? And the fact of the matter is that somehow gets lost in this attempt to create, you know, mud and clouds around the FBI is that when Mueller found out that there had been these texts, he instantly fired the individual concerned and demoted the other. So the question is not so much, gosh, do FBI agents have political opinions? Of course they do, just as judges do. The question is the work they do impartial? And there is not one shred of evidence, Allison, that any of the work that has been done, the convictions or the guilty pleas that have been secured by Robert Mueller has been in any way driven by partisan consideration.
Do you think the president is getting himself in trouble by inserting himself into this via Twitter by going after people like, you know, Comey and McCabe and on and on?
Of course he is. The enemies of the United States, name them, North Korea, Iran, Russia. In their wildest dreams, they would never imagine that the president of the United States would tar and eviscerate the FBI, the DOJ, the CIA. These are all institutions that our enemies hate because they keep us safe, because they do the hard work of American national security. And the president, since he became president a year ago, has gone out of his way to damage not just the morale, but the standing of these institutions in the American people's mind.
Let's talk about the House Intel Committee on which you sit. How close are you with that investigation to being done?
Well, it's a little hard to say. It's hard to say because there are, of course, probably dozens of witnesses that we still want to interview. It's hard to say because, and I say this as one of the members of that committee, we are occasionally surprised by things that Robert Mueller uncovers that, of course, raise questions that we should look into, things that the media uncovered. I mean, let's face it, it was the media, not any of the investigations that uncovered the meeting in Trump Tower with Donald Trump Jr. And so we've got a ways to go. This is an investigation that needs to be done right, not done quickly.
Have you seen any evidence yet of a crime on the part of Donald Trump's campaign?
Well, you know, I'm not sure I've seen a lot that the American people aren't already aware of. And of course, remember, the Congress is not about investigating crimes. The FBI and Robert Mueller are about that. And of course, Robert Mueller has secured 2 guilty pleas from Michael Flynn and from George Papadopoulos, and of course has indicted 2 other individuals. And it doesn't seem like Robert Mueller is done yet. So of course, you know, like a lot of Americans, I'm waiting to see whatever else. And by the way, you asked about, you know, the delegitimization of the FBI. An awful lot of other people are trying to sort of set the glide path to delegitimize whatever additional crimes the FBI might uncover.
Do you get the impression that Republicans in Congress are trying to bring the House Intel Committee investigation or any of the congressional investigations to a hasty close?
Certainly on the House side. The last week we were in Washington, we did, I think, 8 interviews, including 2 interviews not in the city of Washington, which of course makes it very hard for people to get to those interviews. We have never had a week. In fact, I'm not even sure we've had a month where we had 8 interviews. These require a lot of preparation, a lot of work. And so it sure feels like, you know, somebody decided that the clock was ticking, that they needed to jam, you know, a month's worth of work into a week.
And who is that person?
Well, hard to say, hard to say. I mean, you know, as I've said all along, I think Congressman Conaway is doing a good, fair job, but, you know, there are others on the committee, including the chairman, who have sadly been tainted, I think, by what seems to be the command from the White House to just, you know, end this thing, which, of course, is what we know the president wants.
Congressman Jim Himes, always great to have you in studio. Thanks
Thank you,
so
Allison.
much for being here. Bill.
Homeowners are rushing to prepay their property taxes before the new tax law takes effect, but will it pay off or backfire? We'll ask New York Governor Andrew Cuomo about it next.
Seagull's not going to steal my phone, is it?
Vacation rentals? Search HomeToGo Florida from $64, California from $69, New York from $62. The world's largest vacation rental search engine. Go to HomeToGo now and save up to 60%.
HomeToGo.
Duncan just protected his family with a $500,000 life insurance policy. How much do you think it cost him? $100 a month? $75? $50? Actually, Duncan got his $500,000 for under $28 a month. Less than $1 a day. His secret? SelectQuote. In just minutes, a SelectQuote agent will comparison shop nearly a dozen highly rated life insurance companies and give you a choice of your 5 best rates. Duncan's wife, Cassie, got a $750,000 policy for under $21 a month. Give your family the security it needs at a price you can afford. Since 1985, SelectQuote has saved over 1 million families millions of dollars on life insurance. Call now, 800-556-0900, or visit SelectQuote.com. Discover what over 1 million families know now. We shop, you save.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
You have a home equity loan. You've been used to writing off the mortgage interest on that loan. Well, those days are over. And what about your property taxes? Can you put those against your federal nut? Well, that's a good question. The IRS has a warning for those trying to prepay property taxes before the new tax law goes into effect. And CNN's Dave Briggs is live in Oyster Bay, New York, among all those confused taxpayers. Good morning, Dave.
Confused and cold, Bill. Yeah, the IRS.gov website essentially tells people, do your homework before you cut a check. Check with your local government, even a tax professional, because many counties in these high-tax states are not prepared for these changes. Nassau County, New York, where we are, they are ready, and the average property tax bill here is north of $11,000 a year, and that's why people are scrambling. That's why it's been packed here at Oyster Bay all week. That's why they've extended their hours until 7 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow night even added Saturday hours, and the final day to prepay your property taxes before 2018.
Here just to make a payment?
Hundreds of homeowners racing to prepay their 2018 property taxes, hoping to take advantage of a popular deduction that will be reduced when the new tax law goes into effect on January 1st.
I know we're going to get it in this year and we can write it off, but not sure about next year.
The last-minute rush coming amid confusion over one of the most controversial parts of the bill signed into law by President Trump last week, a $10,000 cap on deductions for state and local taxes that will disproportionately impact homeowners in high-tax states like New York, California, Connecticut, New Jersey, and Washington, D.C.
The concerns are that our new tax laws are unfairly targeting New York, and I want to avoid as much payment as possible by prepaying in advance.
But the IRS is now saying not so fast, attempting to clarify who qualifies and cautioning that prepaying property taxes could work, but only under limited circumstances. To avoid the cap, homeowners must pay taxes that have been assessed this year, meaning that those who prepaid based on estimates will likely be ineligible. In Fairfax County, Virginia, officials already preparing to potentially have to issue refunds. In New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo signed an executive order last week suspending measures in state law that could have prevented some residents from prepaying.
This is an economic civil war pitting red states against blue states.
New Yorkers flooding local tax offices, leaving local tax collectors overwhelmed.
I wanted to take advantage of it now and at least not get hurt as much now, knowing going forward it will.
Seniors, we're on a fixed budget. Thank you, President.
Local CPA spoke with this morning, said all the crowds and confusion really reinforces the fact that this tax bill was rushed through Congress far too fast for the IRS, state and local governments to make the proper preparations. One good news note this morning, they are letting people inside here at Oyster Bay because it's single digits, freezing cold outside. Allison, back to you.
Dave, I'm glad you have that assignment. You can tell me when you get back how cold it was. Thank you very much.
You bet.
Let's talk about this tax confusion with New York's Democratic Governor Andrew Cuomo. He signed an executive order last week allowing residents in his state to prepay their property taxes before the end of the year. Good morning, Governor.
Good morning. Good to be with you, Allison.
Great to have you, Governor. Why are you allowing New Yorkers to pay their 2018 tax bill early?
Well, look, as you said in the previous piece, this bill was rushed through Congress and the Senate. It is a bait and switch. They sold it as we're going to help the middle class. It wound up being a benefit for the rich and the rich corporations. They hope the rich corporations will then give it to the workers as a matter of their largesse. But if they actually wanted to raise wages for workers, they would have said in the bill, the corporation is going to get a tax cut, but they must give it to the workers. So it was all a bait and switch. It's all a marketing ploy. One of the really devilish things in the bill is they then eliminate the deductibility of state and local taxes, which sounds like a mouthful. But what it says is, up until now, over 100 years, you paid a state tax, you paid a local tax, you deducted that from your federal tax. They're eliminating that. So you're now paying two taxes. You pay a tax to the state or a tax to the local government, and then the federal government taxes that tax.
Yeah.
It happens to occur coincidentally on only blue states.
And that's what I want to ask you about.
Only Democratic
yes,
states.
because, Governor, you've called this an economic civil war, and I know that's what you're touching on. So what are you trying to say?
The Senate has no senators from Democratic states, blue states. This tax provision hits the blue states by eliminating the state and local tax deductibility and uses that money to finance the tax cut in the red states. So this is the most partisan, divisive legislation we've seen.
So it's payback, you think, for the blue states not voting for the president?
Look, there's always politics in crafting of legislation. But this was an egregious, obnoxious. What the Senate was saying is because we have no senators from the blue states, we don't care. So let's pillage the blue to give to the red. That's never been done in this nation before. That's partisan politicking over any semblance of good government. And by the way, you want to hurt New York? You want to hurt California? They're the economic engines. How are you going to grow the economy after you put a dagger in the heart of New York and California? It's all politics all the time.
So how does New York fight back? What do you plan to do about this?
Well, they are challenging our structure of our tax code. We're going to propose a restructuring of our tax code. I'm not even sure what they did is legal and constitutional, and that's something we're looking at now.
What does that mean? Why wouldn't it be legal to change the tax code?
You can change the tax code. You can't penalize my state because of its political affiliation. There's never been a double taxation before in the history of the nation. So there are legitimate grounds. And now if they own the courts, it might be harder. And ultimately, Allison, look, there's democracy. And people know what happens. You look at your pieces. You have thousands of people lining up on a holiday weekend to prepay their taxes. Do you think they're going to forget? Do you think they don't understand what has happened here? They know exactly what has happened, and they're going to remember because you're hurting them right in their pocketbook. Democracy ultimately works. And maybe it worked for the Senate because they don't have any Democratic senators in these states, which is the epitome of political arrogance. But there are Republican congressmen. There's a Republican president who has to run in these states, and these people are not going to forget.
Okay, Governor Andrew Cuomo, great to see you. Happy New Year.
If I might add, Allison, the show has been especially good over the past few days. I don't know exactly what it is, but there's a lightness and a joy to it that really is remarkable.
Wow, thank you for that. I don't know what it is either, Governor, but I knew you were going to get in a comment about the missing Cuomo brother. So thank you for that.
I have to go now. I'm going on safari.
He outed his brother as the location.
He did.
Hey, if I can benefit from sibling rivalry, I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go. Governor, thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Coming up, accused child molester Roy Moore will not accept defeat in Alabama. He's suing to try to stop the state from certifying his opponent as the winner. What will Bama's Secretary of State do? We will ask him here live next.
Introducing the brand new South Beach Diet. I'm Jesse James Decker, and if y'all want to know how I stay in shape, I do it with the South Beach Diet.
Lose up to 9 pounds and 3 inches overall in your first 2 weeks. Order your 28-day plan today with fully prepared meals delivered to your door. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, even snacks.
I lost 38 pounds.
It's safe and healthy weight loss, easy to follow, and it works.
I lost 30 pounds on the South Beach Diet.
South Beach is a low-carb, low-sugar, high-protein program that burns fat and transforms your metabolism.
I lost 24 pounds.
Order your 28-day plan right now and receive a week of our all-new South Beach Complete Shakes free. They're packed with 20 grams of protein, no added sugar, a great source of probiotics, vitamins, and they taste great. Call or go online in the next 2 minutes and we'll even throw in free FedEx shipping. Lose up to 9 pounds and 3 inches overall in your first 2 weeks.
Trust me, the South Beach Diet works. Call or click right now.
Call 888-870-SAND or go to southbeachdiet.com and get 1 week of shakes free.
If you get a good night's sleep, you got a much better chance of performing at a higher level the next day.
Introducing Replenish, new sleepwear from Copperfit, designed to help you sleep better all night long. A highly breathable sleepwear, copper infused in a soft, ultra comfort fabric blend. Comfortable 4-way stretch for 360-degree mobility. Available in men's and women's sizes. See the full Copperfit Replenish sleep collection at Bed Bath & Beyond.
Copperfit Replenish. Live limitless.
This is an apple. And this is a distraction. But it will never change the fact that this is an apple.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my own growing hair that I can comb, cut, style, do whatever I want with it.
The results I've achieved have been exceptional. This is my real hair. I can do with it whatever I want. This is mine.
Bosley gave me my hair back. I cut this hair. I wash this hair. I mess this hair up if I want to mess this hair up.
I can't explain to you the way that it made me feel to be able to wear my hair down, go out on a date, and have confidence again.
Can Bosley regrow your hair?
This is my hair. This is my hair.
Call or go online for your free, no-obligation self-evaluation kit. Plus, call in the next 6 minutes, and we'll even send you this $250 gift certificate. The information is free, so choose to grow back your own real hair. Choose Bosley. Call now.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
Okay, now to the story we've been covering all morning. Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore is fighting back in a lawsuit filed overnight. The accused molester has alleged election fraud in this hotly contested Alabama Senate race that he lost. Roy Moore wants today's certification, which would name the Democratic challenger, Doug Jones, the winner officially. He wants this postponed. So what is going to happen? We've been trying to reach Alabama Secretary of State John Merrill, and we have successfully done so, and he joins us live now by phone. Mr. Secretary of State, thank you very much for being with us.
Allison, thank you for having me as your guest once again.
I really appreciate having you because you are the source that can put all of this to bed. Do Roy Moore's claims of election fraud have any merit? Mr. Merrill? Mr. Merrill, this is
Hello?
Hi, I lost you for a second. Can you hear me? Mr. Merrill.
Hey, Allison, I'm sorry, something just happened with the phone connection. Forgive me, but I don't know if that'll happen again, and I believe what you were asking me is, will this affect anything? The short answer to that is no. Doug Jones will be certified today at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Central Time. The governor, Kay Ivey, our Attorney General, Steve Marshall, and I will meet in the office of the Secretary of State and the executive office, and we will sign the document certifying him as the senator for the state of Alabama. He will be sworn in by Vice President Pence on the 3rd of January when the Senate returns.
Mr. Merrill, thank you very much for that breaking news. Thank you for clarifying that for our viewers, that Roy Moore, you believe that his claims of election fraud do not hold water. How did you reach that conclusion?
Well, and let me say this, Allison. I think it's important for you and your viewers to know that any citizen has the opportunity to submit an allegation of voter fraud that they've witnessed or that they've observed or that has been reported to them. And we'll investigate those. We've already had well more than 100 that have been reported to us. We've adjudicated more than 60 of those, and we will continue to do that.
But when you say you've adjudicated them, what did you find? If you had 100 claims of voter fraud and you've looked into 60 of them, what did you find?
Well, let me give you the 4 top ones that we've had very briefly. Number 1 was that there was a town called Bordelama in Alabama that has 5,000 plus folks that live there, that 2,000 plus folks that live there, and 5,000 of those people voted. Well, that's a flat out lie because there's not even a town named Bordelama in the state of Alabama. Allison, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can. Okay. So I see what you have to do. You go through each one of these and you
Allison, can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me, Mr. Merrill? Mr. Merrill? Technology is failing us right now. Mr. Merrill, can you hear me? Okay, here's the recap. We just had the Secretary of State. We're going to get him back as soon as technology stops failing us. He says that he is not giving any credence to Roy Moore's attempt to file this lawsuit claiming election fraud in the state of Alabama. He wanted his opponent, Doug Jones, not to be certified, but you just heard from the Secretary of State, John Merrill. He said that he will be certifying the Democrat, Doug Jones, today at 1 p.m. local time as the winner. He will be the next senator from Alabama.
It's interesting. He said dozens and dozens of claims of voter fraud. One of them he actually investigated was an interview that was done at the Victory Party, where one of Doug Jones' supporters say, hey, we came from around the country, we rallied, and we got our boy the win. They thought, well, wait a minute. Are you an Alabama voter? He claims he did look into that claim. The man
turns out they were just volunteers bringing people to the polls.
He had misspoke, but the man had lived in Alabama for a year, was legitimate there. But bottom line is Roy Moore's last gasp at holding on to yet another recount is dead.
That's right. Today at 1, Doug Jones will be certified in Alabama as the next U.S. Senator.
Meanwhile, President Trump is touting a record year of lawmaking, but is he telling the truth? We will fact-check his claim next.
Also, a young barber in Philadelphia decided the best way to help the homeless would be to do what he does best, cut their hair. His one-man crusade soon turned into something rather unexpected, as you'll see in today's Inspiring People.
My name is Brennan Jones, and I created Haircut for Homeless.
Hi, I'm Sean Johnson, the owner of Taper's Barbershop.
I was out and downtown Philly, and Sean approached me. He thought I was just a random barber just out there.